Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita, whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player, and the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I run a game like a cheater, I'm balling like that.
So, I don't know how long you've been listening to this show. I don't know if you go back a year, 6 months, if you're just discovering it today. But if you're one of those folks who's been with us for a little while, if you've been with us for a couple of years, you might recall, and by the way, I'm no Alex Jones-style conspiracy theorist. I don't lose that much sleep over things like chemtrails and plastic containers being stockpiled for the inevitable mass graves that are coming because of our deal with the aliens, where we've sacrificed people for their technology to allow us to dominate the universe. Although, I've been watching some like, just because I couldn't fall asleep at night, I've been watching some documentaries on conspiracy theories, and they're not good. They're not smart. They're not well put together. I just need something to fall asleep to. So they're like, here are the top 10 conspiracy theories of the last 10 years. We are selling human bodies to aliens for that technology. How do you think we went from cart and buggy to moon landing in 100 years? Huh? How do you think? And you know what? I swear to gosh, if you listen to enough of this stuff, the back of your mind starts to go, maybe. But I'm not like this big Alex Jones style conspiracy theorist. However, a couple of years back, I trotted out a theory about the Tea Party, which was, man, that was a thing for a second. It seems to have died down. I think we'll start hearing more about it after the election. But the idea of the Tea Party. Do you remember several years ago when you started to, and I don't know if I'm the only person that gets these emails because I'm in talk radio and political pundits and political people that are trying to scrounge for money just bombard my inbox. Doesn't matter. They don't do any research whatsoever. They just go, hey, you're on the radio, therefore we're going to send you a whole bunch of spam. Try and remove yourself from our list. Try it. It won't be possible. You know whose mailing list I cannot get off? And I never signed up for this. And I've unsubscribed 8 bazillion times. Herman Cain. I can't get off Herman Cain's mailing list. So I get bombarded by all sorts of stuff. And I remember several years ago when I started getting more and more emails from people advocating the Tea Party. Now, I don't know if you got these same emails, but initially the tone of them was kind of nonpartisan. It was an idea that we would follow certain principles upon which this country was founded. And we would return ourselves to the integrity, the moral fiber, the pioneering spirit, all the things that made America what America is in the first place, the things that made America great in the first place. And like I said, it was kind of this sort of right-leaning, but not terribly right-leaning thing that had opened its arms to people from all sides of the political fence. You could be a lefty Tea Party type, and you could be a righty Tea Party type, similar to the way you could be a lefty libertarian and a right-leaning libertarian. That was kind of the overall tone of these emails I was getting as I was skimming them. A lot of people have a lot of different definitions of what the Tea Party is all about, but these emails that I was getting sent made it seem like a very all-encompassing thing that anybody could be a part of as long as they believed in the core values of America. Sounds reasonable? And I don't know exactly where and when it happened, but at some stage in the game, the Tea Party became the vehicle of folks that felt like the Republican establishment wasn't leaning right hard enough. And the Tea Party became this very right-leaning thing. And it created divisions on the right. before the Tea Party came along, I really didn't hear the word rhino all that often. Republican in name only. Why don't you go join the Democrats, you turncoat, you redcoat, you traitor. And Tea Party, like a lot of things, especially in the world of politics, I came to view as it's nice in principle. The execution of it in real time is horrible because it's not doing anybody any good. But I had a theory about the Tea Party and why it suddenly became this thing that leaned very firmly right to the point where it said, you people that said you're on the right, you're not really on the right. We're on the right and we want you to get out. What's this theory? Plays very interestingly into what's happening right now in the run-up to this election. And I'll tell you how that's possible next.
Always fair and mentally unbalanced. KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say that you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want.
All right, so a couple years ago, if you're like me, going back a bit, you started becoming more and more aware of this idea of the Tea Party. Now, maybe you were a Tea Party original. Maybe you were the OG of the Tea Party, and you're like, I've known about this since the 70s, AD. Well, here's the thing. It became something that seeped its way into the zeitgeist of American thought really a few years back. And like I said, it was this sort of like utopian, all-American thing that was going to return us back to the principles that made America great in the first place. And it was an all-encompassing, welcoming idea that as long as you believed in the principles upon which the founding fathers acted, you were welcome. Doesn't matter if you leaned left, doesn't matter if you leaned right. There was a place for you in the Tea Party. That was the vibe of all the emails that I got. I don't know how you heard about it. I don't know if it's been something for you for a long time. Feel free to disagree with me. I'm just telling you what the emails that I got said. I was like, that's kind of interesting. That sounds kind of cool. And then somewhere along the way, the Tea Party was, I know folks that say it was hijacked. I know folks that say it was just taking its natural course. But whatever the case may be, the Tea Party became the far right in this country. The Tea Party folks that I knew were the ones that started bandying around the phrase rhino. You Republican in name only, get yourself over to the other side of the political fence. You say you're conservative, you're not. We're the real conservatives. You don't know what conservatism is. Ha ha! And so it became this vehicle for people that felt as though the Republican Party wasn't conservative enough. That they were playing patty cake in Washington and they were all too chummy with the left. And just in my little circle of friends, it created a certain amount of division on the right. It really, really did. And I was starting to look at this. And this was before Hillary even said she was going to take a stab at being president. This is before the idea of a Make America Great Again campaign slogan was even a glimmer in Trump's eye. But it created real division on the right to the point where you looked at it and you went, that's a mess. Hillary's going to walk all over them when it comes time for election because everybody thought she was going to wind up taking a run at being president. As it turns out, she did. And I had this little theory. Like I said, I'm no Alex Jones conspiracy theorist, but I was like, maybe the Tea Party's being funded by Hillary for president secretly because it seems to be working out awfully well for her. I mean, the more divided the right gets, the easier it's going to be for her to roll through and take the election. A couple years from now, I was thinking to myself back in 2014, and we said this on the radio. Now, Tea Party is not really a part of the dialogue at the moment. I imagine it will be after the election is over. Instead, we have an equally divisive figure on the right. Donald Trump, congressman in upstate New York, was the first one to plant his flag firmly on the other side of the fence yesterday and say, I'm endorsing Hillary for president. I was a never Trump, and now I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm saying publicly that I will be voting for Hillary Clinton as a Republican. Divided. And you know what? Donald Trump is the Republican candidate. Is he receiving the support of the Republican Party? He says no. And you know what? I'm inclined to buy into that idea. I really am. Why he's not is a whole other story. But it plays into this idea. It plays into this idea that I have, which is so far-fetched that I want you to understand that I think it's far-fetched before I even say it. We discussed it a little bit yesterday on the show, and it turned out that Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, and Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, and Chelsea Clinton say they're absolutely friends. I don't know about you, but I don't find it very natural to be friends with someone that calls your parent the devil. Yet they're chill with each other. They're all good. And it made me go, is this all just a goof? Is this Hillary Clinton and her plan? Put this divisive character in a place where he's running for president. He's going to get all kinds of attention, power, and everything that goes with a run for president. Look, if you're running for president and you don't make it, it's essentially a free book tour on somebody else's dime. All the folks that were sitting at the kids' table in the Republican debates early on, they have career opportunities galore now without any of that pesky responsibility of, running the country. So you could see, and go with me on this journey, suspend your disbelief for a second. You could see how it's possible that this could maybe sort of be an arrangement that Trump and Hillary came to. I don't really think that. But like I said, you throw these ideas around in your mind long enough, there's part of your psyche that starts to go, maybe. And part of my psyche went, maybe, this morning when I woke up, read the paper, and saw how mad Reinhold Richard Reince Priebus, American attorney and politician who's currently the chairperson of the Republican National Convention, is with Donald Trump. He's apparently apoplectic. It's a great word used by the folks over at NBC News, where I read it. Now, how does this feed into this idea that we're all being strung along? That's an interesting one. Join the conversation at ADSXE, and we'll continue the conversation when we return. Also, hit up Funkhauser at Funk FM.
Real Radio 104.1.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already a killer. When you know that you're good, I gotta say that it's a thriller. Hey,
I got an email from Jim listening on. I got an email from Jim who's listening, and he was like, "I see where you're going with this. I've thought it to myself numerous times. I just didn't have the guts to say it out loud because it sounded too crazy. It does sound crazy. Donald Trump, is he really a puppet of the Hillary campaign, or is he taking a real stab at being president? Of course he's taking a real stab at being president, but maybe, we live in strange times. The amount of doomsday prepping that has started happening, the amount that doomsday prepping has skyrocketed since this election cycle took off has been absolutely insane.
Doomsday preppers, I have 8 episodes I've yet to watch. I don't even watch reality, but if you have never seen that show, I think it's the craziest you can be. They are preparing for the end of the world, these people. They all think it's something different. A dirty bomb, the government's going to take over, or they have all these ideas of how the world's going to end, but they prepare differently. They have bunkers, they have medicine for life. But what's even more bizarre than what they're doing is every single one of them is married. Wow, really? I have normal, nice friends that can't get a date. And you... How'd you throw that out on ChristianMingle.com and get a hit back? That's all I want to know. How do you just toss that out there like it's normal? Hobbies? Preparing for the end of the world. Well, you can't throw something else in, Janice. I mean, what? No. And then somebody hit you back. OMG, me too. Meet me at Costco. Lots of things to buy. Can't wait. This is going to get weird.
Yet, doomsday prepping going through the roof. And why? Because we live in strange times. So I'm going to continue to float this conspiracy theory that is bothering me in the back of my brain. Reince Priebus is mad, hopping mad about Trump's refusal to endorse Paul Ryan. Whole bunch of media outlets are reporting that he is absolutely fuming over Trump going after Paul Ryan, John McCain, folks like that. Folks over at NBC News say Priebus called several Trump staffers, including campaign manager Paul Manafort, to express his extreme displeasure with Trump's comments. In an interview with the Washington Post yesterday, Trump said of Ryan, "I'm not quite there yet," echoing language used by Ryan when he was reluctant to endorse Trump back in May. And you know what? I understand Trump on this one. Hey, I'm here. I'm your guy. Treat me like I'm your guy. I'm your best shot. Why are you giving me the cold shoulder? Because I'm an outsider. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to mess with the program. So it continues. Despite the quote-unquote endorsement of Trump for president by Paul Ryan, they're not really on his side. It's still a house divided. It really is. In name only are they on the same team. Beyond that, Trump is going into battle every single day he deals with the Republican establishment. Now, you remember, Paul Ryan eventually endorsed Donald Trump. A spokesperson for Ryan said neither Ryan nor anyone on his team sought an endorsement for Trump. Nevertheless, Reince Priebus is all mad and is like, well, you shouldn't seek an endorsement from someone on your team. You should just hold your hand up and go like, hey, yeah, that's my guy. He said I'm his guy, therefore he said I am his guy, therefore he's my guy. That's the relationship that's politics. If you're a joiner, you're rewarded. If you give up your sense of individuality, you become part of a team. Part of a team that controls a lot of different things. And Trump has no interest in being on a team, really. He had to be part of a team to do what he's doing now. However, it really is in name only. And he's going into battle every single day that he deals with the establishment, the people that are supposed to have his back. Now, if Trump falls further in the polls, there's talk that the party could come up with a backup plan to protect down ballot races. And like I said, I don't like to go down that conspiracy theorist wormhole too terribly much, but this idea that he's been put in place to help Hillary win is something that's picking up a little bit of steam. And you'll notice that since winning the nomination, he's continued to focus on Republicans instead of going after Hillary. It's almost as if, well, I'll let you finish that sentence. Do with that what you will. All right, Funkhauser. How are you and what's going on in the world?
Oh, things are Things are okay. Sure.
Uh-huh.
How are you?
You know, I find myself where'd it go? I find myself agreeing with Donald Trump on something that people are going to beat the crap out of me for. Because, you know, in theory, you're supposed to be on the side of innocent, beautiful, perfect children. The idea of a baby is a miracle. However, Donald Trump's taken a lot of heat for this.
I have the biggest bank in the world as a tenant of mine in New York. The biggest in the world, a Chinese bank. Don't worry about that baby. I love babies. So I love babies. I hear that baby crying. I like it. I like it. What a baby. What a beautiful baby. Don't worry. Don't worry. The mom's running around like, don't worry about it, you know. It's young and beautiful and healthy, and that's what we want. Okay. But look. China, when China devalues its currency, they take our guts out. And they do it so often. Ripped us absolutely to shreds. Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here. That's all right. Don't worry. I think she would believe me that I love having a baby crying while I'm speaking. That's okay. People don't understand.
See, I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm a goofball on the radio, and if someone walks into my studio while I'm talking about Metallica or the Foo Fighters, I get annoyed. I'm like, hey, train of thought. I have ADD. You're officially a shiny squirrel, and you've disrupted everything. Do you know that I'm talking about Metallica and Foo Fighters? Donald Trump's talking about the future of America and the world, and the mom didn't take the hint. The mom didn't get the baby out of there. He was very nice. He said, don't worry about the crying baby. I love crying babies. It's healthy. It's got energy. That's what we want. We want to see that. That's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful noise, a crying baby. At which point, I feel like the mom should have taken the hint and said, oh, yeah, I'm drawing attention to this. I'm going to get out. Now, maybe she was starstruck or maybe, sorry, I said mom. I think, was the baby with its mom? I don't know. I do know this, though. The parent maybe was starstruck, didn't take the hint, and kept the crying baby around. Maybe they thought the crying baby would silence itself magically and it would give them an opportunity to witness a little bit of history being made. And that's certainly an attractive proposition. I can absolutely understand that. And it's kind of cool. It'll be kind of cool in years to come. Like, hey, you know, the baby that cried through Donald Trump's speech, that was me. It's like the baby that was swimming after the dollar on the cover of the Nirvana album. He's like this surly grown-up now. And it's really kind of fun to see, where are they now? What happened to the crying baby that interrupted Trump's speech 25 years forward? But here's the thing. I actually don't find what Donald Trump did to be that egregious. It's like we're talking about important stuff. I don't want to use the expression grown folks are talking, but we kind of are talking, and that's distracting. So I get all bent out of shape when somebody interrupts me and I'm talking about Foo Fighters and Metallica on the radio. I don't think it's that big a freaking deal that Donald Trump was like, yeah, I actually don't like babies crying during my speech because, you know, it's a distraction and we're talking about important stuff here that affects the future of the known universe. So if you could take the baby out, that would be great. And people are jumping all over him. People are like, Donald Trump kicked that crying baby out of his rally. Is that what we want for president? What, you mean somebody that has something important to say that is worth not interrupting? So, in this particular instance, I side with Trump. It's okay to kick somebody who is screaming and shouting out of your rally because you want to be able to string sentences together effectively. Doesn't matter if they are an infant or an adult. I get it. Does that make me a bad person, Funkhauser?
No. No, other things might.
Well,
but that
really?
Not.
Wonderful baby.
Don't worry about that baby. I love babies. So I love babies.
The Sandman says maybe he'll take you above.
What a beautiful baby.
Wonderful baby.
Beautiful.
I'll watch while you grow.
Healthy.
If I knew the future.
Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here.
Alrighty then. Funkhauser, what is going on in the world?
Well, Tom Brady turns 39 today.
Tom Brady, noted New England Patriot. An enjoyer of deflated balls. turns 39 today. One wonders how it feels to have birthday sex with one of the prettiest people on the planet. We should ask Giselle. It's funny because Tom Brady's really much better looking than all of us and significantly better looking than the average football player. Go on.
Jimmy Fallon. He's going to host next year's Golden Globes. Jimmy Fallon, everybody. Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. They're going to be able to extend it, too. Build more advertising spot blocks in there. They're going to make way more money out of it because you got to assume that anytime Jimmy Fallon hosts something, you're going to have an extra hour of broadcast to make time for Jimmy's giggles. Go on, what else?
Donald Trump got annoyed by a crying baby at a rally yesterday.
Yeah, we just did that. Yeah, I mean, now he knows how the rest of us feel. Oh my gosh, I was on a plane the other day and the kid in front of me had some lungs on him. Like, it was really, really, really impressive. And, like, behind me was someone that I guess was a little shorter on sleep than me. And so all I heard was a crying baby in front of me. And behind me, I heard, and I don't think the parents could hear this because, you know, they're further away from me. They're in front. The guy behind me was like, don't you think they could do something about that kid? You shouldn't be flying with a kid. So all I heard was screaming baby for 3 hours and guy complaining about screaming baby behind me for 3 hours. And I was just, I wanted to turn around and tell the adult to shut the hell up. Because, well, adults know how to shut the hell up. A baby is just saying, hey, my ears hurt because we're all these feet above the surface of the earth and there's a significant amount of cabin pressure. Or I'm hungry, or I poop myself. I don't know. I do know this, though. I feel sympathetic for people that fly with kids. I like it when they bring treats. You know, like, have you ever had that where the parent of a crying baby says, if my kid cries, I'm buying everybody on the plane a drink, or everybody in this row a drink? You ever had anything like that?
You know, I've only flown like 3 times, so. And I was usually the crying baby.
Oh. I got offered, like, food, homemade cookies from a woman who had a crying baby. And it was really cool, but I don't take stuff that was baked in a stranger's home and put it in my mouth. But I really appreciated the thought. Babies are amazing, though. I was hanging out with Ramon, program director of KPRC, the station that carries us in Houston, and he had a baby. Little July Augustus Robles is like 10 months old now, and you could not ask for a cuter, more well-behaved baby when we all went out to lunch. It was great. We went out, we had barbecue, and I'm like hanging out, talking with the baby, as one does. And the baby starts putting his hand all over my face. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on my face to interested baby. You know, the hair's a little longer. There's the piercing. They're playing with the brim of my hat. And I thought it was great when he grabbed onto my nose. I was like, aw. And Ramon was like, yeah, too bad that hand was in poop 10 minutes ago.
Real Radio. Real Radio. 104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
All right, then, Funkhauser, let's roll through what remains of the news, and then,
What are we going to do now?
We've been like leaning heavily political for the last couple of days. I wonder if we should take a little break and discuss some general interest stuff. Yeah, a little bit of dessert for all the nutritious fruits and vegetables we've been choking down over the last couple of days. We've been having a lot of kale. I think it's time for something sweet. Shall we talk about 10 things that kill your productivity in the workplace?
No.
We'll do that. It's too bad. That's all I got. We're going to talk about it after the news.
Fine.
Go on.
President Obama said Donald Trump is unfit to be president.
Oh, look. Obama says Donald Trump is unfit to be president? must mean that his golf swing isn't that good. He plays a lot of golf. How do presidents play so much golf? I've said it before. I will say it again. And the reason I repeat myself on this issue is because it's important. I'm a goofball on the radio. This is what I do. Like this and talking about Metallica and the Chili Peppers and Foo Fighters and bands like that and hunting down new music and generally behaving badly. And it's just, that's what I do for a living. I'm a goof off on the air. Yet I don't have time to do anything. Every day I get here sort of like 9-ish or so, and I am lucky if I get out of this building before 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And you know what I do when I go home? I whip out my laptop and I continue working. Thought I was going to say something else. No, there's no time for whipping that out. That never happens by myself or with anybody else. Why? Because I don't have time. Then I wake up in the morning and from bed, I start working. And you know what? I'm not complaining. This is a life I chose. I don't have a tremendous amount of free time. And you know what? Part of that is because I chose a career path where I get to be a goof off on the radio. And, you know, like I made my own bed. I'm lying in it. And you know what? I really enjoy lying in this bed. That's all good. But I don't understand how I don't have time to do this. Yet Obama gulps up a storm. George Bush spent so much time on that ranch in Crawford, Texas. Like, vacations. Presidents go on vacations. No vacation. I got a letter from the Automated Human Resources Service that our company, iHeartMedia, uses saying, like, hey, you haven't used any vacation days in the past 6 months. We feel like that's a mistake. You probably forgot to enter your vacation days because everybody takes vacation in a 6-month period, at least a day of it. So could you correct this? Or if you really haven't taken any vacation, and that would be crazy, check this box. And you know what I did? I checked that box because I haven't had a day of vacation in 2 years, let alone 6 months. Now, I did go away for Christmas. But the way the weekend was structured, I didn't have to burn a vacation day, just FYI. I'm not throwing myself a pity party. I'm just saying, if I don't have time to do this stuff, how does the president of these United States of America, and indeed the leader of the free world, find time to golf? Go on.
Are you okay? Do you need me to call someone?
I need a vacation.
Yeah. Well, the person I'm supposed to call is on vacation, so
okay.
We're all hosed. Donald Trump says the New York Times...
you said hosed. You've been hanging out with Canadians. Look at these bunch of hosers, eh?
Oh,
yeah, hosers is Canadian. I love that expression. I don't know why it didn't pick up more steam in America and England, but like calling somebody a hoser is intrinsically a Canadian thing, and I love it. You know what? Let's try and make that a thing, Funkhauser. You and I should use the word hoser more often on this show.
What is a hoser exactly?
I don't know, but I like the way it sounds. Read the news, you hoser.
Donald Trump says New York Times columnist, quote, Donald Trump said the New York Times columnists, quote, don't write good. They don't know how to write good. End quote. Did I say that right? I'm so confused.
Yeah. You know, we have a huge problem in this country. It's called grammatical correctness. Don't write good, and they don't know how to write good. Okay. You know, I wonder. I'm thinking about this one. People jumping all over the of course, one doesn't write good. One does good. One writes well. I write well. You write well. They write well. You can be good at writing, but you write well. Here's the thing. Are we really going to bog ourselves down in semantics when we're talking about the leader of the free world? It's a tough one. It really, really is. Like, on the one hand, you would like someone who is going to have their finger on the button to be viewed as being smart enough to use grammar properly. But is it really that big of an issue when we consider everything else at stake? Funkhauser, I'm going to let you decide.
What? Say that again?
I'm going to let you decide. Does it matter that if we have a president that says things like the New York Times columnists don't write good, as opposed to the New York Times columnists don't write well, does it really matter? Is that really an issue we want to mire ourselves down in?
I have to decide? I don't like to decide.
Yeah.
I think he should, the person who's in charge should be smart, and that includes being able to write good.
right well.
So,
all right, if we use, you know what, glass houses, stones, don't throw them. I'm quite sure I'm grammatically incorrect on a regular basis on this show. And you know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about this standard that people get held to when it comes to speech? You can deliver a humdinger of a speech full of errors that if you write that speech down, you get nothing but red lines through it from your 6th grade English teacher. This is incorrect, that is incorrect, this is incorrect. And it's interesting. It's very interesting as a journalist. Like, I remember when I was interviewing folks, like I would interview Nikki Sixx for a couple of different articles that I wrote for magazines back in the day when I was writing professionally. And Nikki Sixx, man, that guy talks in one ginormous run-on sentence. And when you're talking to him, it sounds perfect. When you go to transcribe it and write it down, it looks like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. It looks like you need to go back to remedial English and sit at the very back of the classroom because you're slowing everybody else down. But coming out of the guy's mouth, it sounds perfect. So it's an interesting one, to be sure. When people are held to the standard of the written word with regard to the spoken word, and we go, hey, is this really something that we want? With regard to who's in the White House, somebody that uses the wrong, uses an adjective when they should be using an adverb. I don't know if it's that big a freaking deal, but people are making it a big deal. Go on.
Well, we'll have to go
One
on
more.
next.
One more.
3 top Democratic National Committee officials are resigning over the email hacking scandal.
And yet, over at the RNC, not a single head rolled for putting Chachi on the stage.
Stimulated minds want to know, what were you thinking? No, really, give us a call and tell us. KPRC AM 950.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Alrighty then. Couple more pieces of news, and then we'll discuss your workplace productivity, Funkhauser, and how you can up it if you want to.
By firing most of the people here that text me in the middle of a show, that would be great. People who distract me about their own petty little problems.
Well, you know, again.
I am not your doctor.
It speaks to my point. It speaks to my point about the crying baby. People are saying Donald Trump kicked a baby out of his rally. Oh, the humanity. Doing a job here, people. If you have a crying baby with you that's going to interrupt that, the polite thing to do, once I've made a jocular note of it, is to remove said crying baby from the room and let me talk. It's kind of rude. You know, like you see moms excuse themselves from dinner tables, like, oh, sorry, I gotta quiet the kid down. He's looking for the boob. Or any parents removing their kids from the table when, you know, things get a little out of hand. Because, you know, it's getting in the way of grown folks doing what grown folks do. If Funkhauser can get mad that people are texting him in the middle of this show, I think a presidential candidate has every right to get mad that someone won't do the right thing and remove the crying baby from the place where they're making a speech. Go on.
Mitt Romney is back. He says he may endorse Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson.
And if who Mitt Romney endorses is exciting to you, you're Mitt Romney. Go on.
MTV turned 35 this week.
Yeah, that's something. That's a thing. That happened. MTV turned 35 years old.
We're the same age.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, that explains why MTV, like us, now only watches VH1.
Hey, Dating Naked Season 3, come on with it.
Oh, wait, aren't we...
Well, we haven't really put that in concrete yet, but yeah, pretty much.
We're getting somebody from Dating Naked on the show?
Yeah, we're getting a contestant from Dating Naked on the show here.
Very into this.
That's all I can say. She's bringing her blur spots with her.
Her bling. She's blinging her blur spots with her. I talk professionally for a living, can you tell? That's why I make the big bucks. Literally hundreds of dollars a year. Well, we look forward to that. Will she be doing Radio Naked? Will you be doing Radio Naked on that day? I think you're a big fan of the show, and you want to have someone from Dating Naked on. They should be naked. You should be naked.
Well, you know,
I won't look, but I think it'll set the tone for the interview.
You are the host, so you can say.
I am
like
a shot caller, am I not? Yeah.
We'll have to come in groomed and ready.
Manscaped. Do you manscape?
What is that exactly?
It's that is trimming of hair in various places that is not your face.
Yes, I do mow the lawn occasionally.
Do you go all the way, or do you just you leave some?
What, you mean like whipping out the Bic and the old shaving creamerino?
Yeah, do you go for a close shave, or are you going for like a blade 1 or blade 2?
Man, I'm
like
mowing
you say
the
to the
lawn.
barber when you go in. You're mowing the lawn?
Everybody wants an artistic design. So, how can I say a little of both? The smorgasbord?
Yeah. I'm a little of both, really?
Make it look like a smorgasbord?
All right, that's actually conjuring up a mental image that I want nothing to do with. So let's, real classy, let's just get to the story.
I'm sorry.
There's me walking right up to the line. Real classy.
Why don't we just go to the story?
There's me walking right up to the line as Funkhauser joyously skips right over it.
La 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 la. Johnny Manziel told paparazzi that he'll play in the NFL again this year, and it'll be with the Dallas Cowboys.
Right,
Mic
Johnny
drop.
Manziel. Johnny Manziel, who was fired from... Johnny Manziel, who was bounced out of Cleveland because he couldn't get his stuff together, thinks he's going to be playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Just in case some of you were wondering if Johnny's still drinking. Time to update your Johnny Manziel scorecards. Go on.
Sharknado 4 aired.
Yeah.
Look out.
Yeah, haven't seen that many D-list celebrities ranting and raving about the apocalypse since the Republican National Convention. I wonder if now that he's picked up all this steam, Scott Baio, how much have you talked about Scott Baio previous to this election?
Never.
How much have we talked about Scott Baio since the election kicked off?
At least once.
A lot. We've been talking about Scott Baio a lot. I wonder if he's managing to ride that wave into a role in Sharknado 5.
I hope it becomes an 8-part series. Then they do Sharknado weekends on Freeform TV.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we're going to see more from Scott Baio after this election for a couple different reasons. Like, the time is right. Kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s want to see stuff. Have you been watching that? Show? Is it called Unnatural Things? Can't even remember the name. I watched the whole series.
Stranger Things
on Netflix. Stranger Things. Yeah, the one with Winona Ryder.
No. Is it good?
It's great. Not only is it great, but it hits on everything that you want to watch. It really does. And the reason why is, look, Netflix is a massive aggregator of stuff. And this show has Winona Ryder in it, and it's sort of like X-Files meets The Goonies, I suppose, is a good way of describing it. It's great. It's fantastic. And what I know Netflix are doing are going, okay, lots and lots of people have been watching The Goonies and X-Files and old Winona Ryder movies on our service. Therefore, we're going to aggregate all of this and put out a Netflix original that incorporates it. And not only is it a great story and well done and a tremendous amount of fun to watch, and it's scary in all the places it should be scary, it's really, really good. Not only is it all that, but it's got all the pop culture references in it that you want. It shows a whole bunch of old television commercials on TV as people are watching TV in the background. And it's great. And it really is proof that Netflix now have a direct line into giving people what they want. And I would be very surprised if we didn't see a Netflix original or something like that with Scott Baio after this election cycle. I think he spoke his heart, and I think he's going to be rewarded for it. As much as people want to joke about, Chachi's talking at the convention, I think this is a reminder to people of what they want to see. A lot of people, and it is valid for Chachi to talk at the Republican National Convention. Hey, I grew up with this guy. Hey, this is a point of reference for me. I was a kid when he was a kid, and now I have some feelings about politics that he didn't have when I was a kid, when we were both kids, and I kind of want to hear what he has to say about this, because while he's not a political pundit, he grew up in the same time that I did. Therefore, he is relevant to me and my generation. And people laugh about putting Chachi on the stand. And look, there were some ups and downs with Chachi talking on behalf of Donald Trump, but I understand exactly why they did it and exactly why they continued to do it after the first time people laughed at the idea. There you go. Go on.
J.K. Rowling confirmed that the latest Harry Potter book is the last story in the series.
Yeah, have you noticed how entertainers have problems? Entertainers have problems keeping their promises when it comes to... Yeah, it's just like, this is our last album. This is our farewell tour. This is the last movie in the trilogy. I'm not writing any more books. These are promises that are not kept all that often. Yet people are really happy when they're broken because, you grew up reading Harry Potter books, and therefore it's kind of cool that J.K. Rowling, I've got a kid now. I can introduce my kid to the new Harry Potter book the way I was introduced to it when I was a kid. That's a big deal. J.K. Rowling confirmed that her latest Harry Potter book is going to be the last story in the series. Because a lot of people, were like, hey, that's a little hypocritical. This was supposed to be the last one a little while ago, and here's another one. She's like, no. This one's definitely the last one. That is, until it's time to refurbish her yacht. And then she'll write Harry Potter and the bottomless cash register. Go on.
J.K. Rowling also turned 51 years of age yesterday.
Oh, wait, sorry. Harry Potter and the Curse of the Hot Flashes. What else?
Justin Bieber turned down $5 million to perform at the GOP convention.
Yep. So Ted Cruz stepped in to play the role.
I thought it was this guy.
What's up, man? I'm Aaron Carter.
He was doing it.
Oh, yeah, he did it as well. Yeah. And Ted Cruz stepped in to play the role of Canadians a lot of people don't like very much. Go! Now, you know what? Let's talk about let's up our productivity at work, Funkhauser,
please,
shall we?
Please. I don't have to wear a tie, do I?
Oh, God. It's funny because, I went to an event a little while ago, and it was, business casual, and I wore jeans and a shirt that had buttons on it, which for me, that's making an effort. And someone was like, hey, it said business casual. I was like, guess what? This is how I do business. And yeah, people ignored me for the rest of the night. So that's where that gets me. But yeah, the thing is, we work really hard. We work really, really hard for a number of reasons. And one of the reasons that I work really hard is so I can continue to have a job that doesn't require me to wear anything other than T-shirts, shorts, and flip-flops to work every single day and still be regarded as a professional. There you go. So, let me ask you this. How productive do you tend to be from the minute you get to work to the minute you leave, Funkhauser?
Really productive. I try to get the heck out of here as quick as possible. So, yes, don't talk to me. Don't tell me what you had for lunch. I don't care where you're going later. Leave me alone. I got stuff to load.
When do you get in and when do you tend to get out, though?
I'm an early guy. So, I get here when the sun does, and I leave when y'all having lunch.
Okay, so you bounce
typically. I know we do shows at night and stuff, and I'm here and there, but that's usually my work.
Yeah. Well, but also you are in the interesting position of being a guy who your job is done when it's over. You know what I mean? Have you finished all your responsibilities? And this is one of the joys of radio. If you've finished all your responsibilities, go home. It's like... I work on one radio station where we carry football games in the wintertime. And I remember the first time I was sitting there being like, okay, well, I guess I'm usually on the air till 7, so I got to stay till 7 and be productive. And I remember some management type rolled through and went, there's a football game on. Why are you still here? Go home. I was like, I'm allowed to do that? And they're like, yeah, you work really hard the rest of the time. There's literally nothing for you to do at the station. Go home. I was like, oh, cool. So we work in a line of business where a lot of the time you finish your stuff, you can leave. All your responsibilities are taken care of later. And that's kind of cool. But the vast majority of the rest of the world live in a work environment where you are expected to be there at 9 or 8:30, and you may leave at 5 or 5:30, or whatever the gig is. You show up at a certain time, and you are expected to be there the entirety of that time. Now, if you're not like Funkhauser, if you're not on a marathon to finish all your stuff so you can get the hell out of there, there's a chance you're not super productive every single minute of every single day that you're there, because you're just there, hanging out, because you're expected to be there. If you knew you got to leave when all your work was done, well, you'd probably hustle right through it the way Funkhauser does. But here's the thing. Apparently, the average person is only productive for a total of 3 days out of the 5-day work week. And you know what's what's killing your productivity right now, Funkhauser and everybody else? You know what's probably killing you? When it's hot outside. When it's hot outside, your level of productivity drops to 2.5 days out of the 5 days you're at work. So what is it? What is it, do you suppose, that's killing our productivity? Something to bear in mind as you make your way into the day. Getting a bad night of sleep, being too hot in the office, your coworkers distracting you or talking to you. Yeah. Computer problems. Oh, I hate that. Computer problems. When other people don't do their job, it becomes your job to chase them to do their job and fix a computer, and I hate that. A noisy office sucks. Boredom, that'll get you. Being distracted by personal issues, I wouldn't have any of those ever, any of the time, so I don't know. Feeling hungry, being too cold in the office, or being hungover. Goodbye!
You know how a lot of times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek.